Novel Navigator. Chapter 51, The First Interspatial Ring. In the Tianhuan sect. Qi. A long spear stabbed through the throat of a Tianhuan sect disciple without making a sound. Then, with an abrupt sweep, it heavily hacked towards two more disciples, making them step back. If you don't want to be killed, then leave. Yin Min, a nifty girl with a long spear in her hands, wore a cold expression while criticizing them. However, several Tianhuan sect disciples ignored her words and lunged at her, immediately attacking with their knives and swords. Kill them, Yin Min said in a cold voice. A flash of coldness appeared in the eyes of Jian Wushuang and Ling Tianhao, but suddenly, a cold voice and three auras rushed into the battle. These cultivators were stronger than previous Tianhuan sect disciples. Three people at the level of exceptional spiritual C. The arrival of these three caused Jian Wushuang's expression to change. Since they came to the Tianhuan sect, they had encountered three groups of Tianhuan sect disciples who just reached the level of profound spiritual C realm and the initial realm. They had yet to encounter a single disciple at the exceptional spiritual C realm, not to mention encountering three of them at the same time. You two, protect yourselves, Yin Min said in a low voice. Then, the long spear in her hands danced through the air like flashing stars and drifting snow as it struck towards two of the disciples at the exceptional spiritual C realm. Hazi, Mouse, leave the exceptional spiritual C realm disciple to me. As for the others, it's up to you to handle them, Jian Wushuang said in a low voice. Yes, Ling Tianhao said and nodded. Although he had to fight against several Tianhuan sect disciples at the same time, these disciples were only at the level of profound spiritual C realm or initial spiritual C realm and were no threat to him. Those three at the exceptional spiritual C realm, that could threaten him, had been blocked by Yin Min and Jian Wushuang. How dare you two guys block me? Yin Min laughed loudly and then she furiously hacked towards the two people at exceptional spiritual C realm with the long red spear, blasting them with hazy spear shadows. Both of them realized how ruthless and tyrannical Yin Min was as they fended her off with all their strength. However, they were no match for Yin Min's spear skills. Though fighting against two enemies, Yin Min still gained the upper hand. Be careful, she is strong, said a person at exceptional spiritual C realm, seriously. She is only at the level of exceptional spiritual C realm. Why should we be afraid of her when we have a 2-to-1 advantage? Let's kill her. The other one sniffed and then they lunged at Yin Min again. A giant axe was shown in front of Yin Min and hacked towards her. Meanwhile, a flash of dark gold sword light appeared in front of Yin Min, traveling 10 meters in an instant. How ridiculous! Yin Min laughed as the look in her eyes abruptly turned cold. Divine spear of dripping blood. Clang, clang, clang. Two flashes of spear shadow struck out successively, faster than those two people expected. And then, those two flashes of spear shadow stabbed into the area between the eyebrows of both disciples, immediately killing them. Good girl, Yin Min has a good command of her spearmanship. Jian Wushuang was still fighting with the other disciple at exceptional spiritual C realm. But he saw everything that happened, especially when Yin Min killed other two disciples at exceptional spiritual C realm on her own. It seems that I should also show a little bit of my ability. Jian Wushuang smiled faintly while looking at his enemy. Die. Only Jian Wushuang could hear his light voice. The disciple at exceptional spiritual C realm saw a flash of cold sword light in front of him, rapidly approaching his eyes. It was too fast for him to resist, quickly piercing through his throat. Meanwhile, Ling Tianhao also defeated his enemies. Swordsman, not bad. How did you kill someone at exceptional spiritual C realm on your own? Yin Min asked while looking at Jian Wushuang with startled eyes. Haha. I just have a good luck, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. Really? Yin Min raised her eyebrow but didn't continue asking. Go and see if any of them have an interspatial ring, said Yin Min. It only took a moment for Jian Wushuang and Ling Tianhao to check them. No, Jian Wushuang shook his head. Nothing here either. Ling Tianhao also shook his head. It seems that we really have bad luck. We have killed so many Tianhuan sect's disciples, even 3 people at exceptional spiritual sea realm, but we still didn't find an interspatial ring, Yinmin said with a wry smile. Peng. Suddenly, a wall on the perimeter of the courtyard shattered as a pitiful figure heavily landed on the ground. It was a white-haired old man, who vomited a mouthful of blood after falling on the ground. Then, he stood up and immediately tried to escape. Where are you trying to escape to? 4 figures appeared behind the white-haired old man, chasing after him. Jian Wushuang had seen these 4 people receive the Golden Dragon Guard task together with him. Jian Wushuang's group of 3 felt surprised when they saw these 4 people chasing the white-haired old man who wore a lilac ring on his right ring finger. That's an interspatial ring. He has an interspatial ring. Let's do it. Without any hesitation, all 3 rushed in front of the white-haired old man, among whom Yinmin arrived first. She ruthlessly struck out with the long spear as if trying to pierce through everything in the world. What? The white-haired old man had already encountered a major battle that left him seriously injured, but now he was being chased by 4 people. He was already in a desperate situation and he didn't expect to encounter even more people from the Golden Dragon Palace. The white-haired old man felt hopeless when he saw the ruthless spear stabbing towards him. Chi! The spear stabbed through the white-haired old man. Then the spear cut off his right ring finger and made it fly up. Yinmin reached out to grasp the amputated finger and the lilac ring on it as it fell directly into her hand. The first interspatial ring. Seeing this, both Jian Wushuang and Ling Tianhao smiled. However, on the other side, the expressions of the 4 people who had chased the white-haired old man before suddenly turned dark. Hand over the ring. That interspatial ring belongs to us. Don't speak nonsense, kill her immediately. Boom. 4 figures tried to kill Yinmin at the same time. **T. The complexions of both Jian Wushuang and Ling Tianhao changed. Although they had known that they might need to kill people from their own side during the task, they didn't expect these people to attack without any hesitation. Chapter 52, Stealing Benefits from Others. Get out of here. Seeing those 4 people rushing towards her, Yinmin angrily howled and raised the red long spear up high, hacking towards them with amazing power. The heavy spear shadow immediately swept towards those 4 people. What? Those 4 people changed their faces while resisting Yinmin's spear. Then, the 4 people were knocked back over 10 meters by Yinmin before they regained their footing. Whoosh! Whoosh! Jian Wushuang and Ling Tianhao immediately appeared beside Yinmin. Do you want to kill people on your own side? Jian Wushuang said in a cold voice. That interspatial ring should have belonged to us, but you guys snatched it? Those 4 people all had grim expressions as a burly man, the leader of them, growled, if you guys are wise, then hand over the interspatial ring or we'll. Otherwise. Yinmin sneered and said, more than 30 people received the task, but only 10 interspatial rings exist. That means most of the people can't complete the task. This is a competition between us and the interspatial ring is in my hand. If you want to grab it, just come try. But who will get the ring hasn't been decided yet. Those 4 burly men felt unpleasant. They had just fought with Yinmin and realized that Yinmin's strength was stronger than any of them. Even killing 2 of them on her own was a piece of cake. Besides her, there were Jian Wushuang and Ling Tianhao. They would probably suffer if they fought with them. Let's go. The burly man snorted and then those 4 people reluctantly left. Jian Wushuang and other 2 couldn't help laughing when they saw the group leaving. It's lucky for them to leave, otherwise it's possible 1 or 2 of them would be killed by me and Swordsman, not to mention Sister Yin. Fighting against 3 on her own is no problem at all, Ling Tianhao said with a smile. Fighting against 3 on my own. Min shook her head and said, "You think too highly of me. Those who dare to receive a golden dragon guard task are stronger than we imagine. Fighting 2 is possible, but 3 is not realistic. All right. Don't talk about it anymore. We have been fighting for a long time, now we finally have an interspatial ring. Give this one to me, and if we obtain more interspatial ring, they will belong to you too. How's it?" Min turned to Jian Wushuang and Ling Tianhao. "No problem," Jian Wushuang said and nodded. "Of course I agree," replied Ling Tianhao with a smile. It was obvious that Min was the biggest contributor to the battle. She was also the oldest among them, so giving the first ring to her was only proper. "Okay, let's go on. It hasn't been long since the slaughter started, so we have many opportunities to find more interspatial rings," Min said. "Yes." Both Jian Wushuang and Ling Tianhao agreed and nodded. The slaughter in the Tianhuan sect continued, becoming even crazier as time passed. Jian Wushuang and other 2 had already been in the Tianhuan sect for an hour. Ah! Jian Wushuang and other 2 suddenly looked up from the corridor and saw a fierce battle ahead of them. There were 2 sides in the battle. One side, disciples of the Tianhuan sect, and on the other side, their acquaintances that also came for the Golden Dragon Palace task. "It's those 4, Jian Wushuang said. Those people fighting against the Tianhuan sect disciples were the stout man and his 3 companions that they had just met. The first interspatial ring Min got was from them. They are in a bad situation," Jian Wushuang said in a low voice. They could clearly see that those 4 people were in a bad situation because over 20 Tianhuan sect disciples were fighting against them. Among them were 5 disciples at exceptional spiritual C realm. These 4 guys are really unlucky. It's unbelievable they were attacked by so many Tianhuan sect disciples, Min said and sneered. "Look. Sister Yin and Swordsman, that man's right hand," Ling Tianhao suddenly exclaimed. Jian Wushuang and Min looked in the direction Ling Tianhao pointed. They saw a Tianhuan sect disciple at exceptional spiritual C realm wearing a lilac ring on his right index finger. An interspatial ring. Min felt surprised and said, "Haha, the second interspatial ring has appeared. Let's do it. First, we'll join hands with those 4 men to kill the Tianhuan sect disciples, then we grab the interspatial ring." "Yes." Both Jian Wushuang and Ling Tianhao agreed and nodded. The 3 of them immediately rushed into the battle. 3 more bastards. Kill them. The Tianhuan sect disciples were crazy with bloodlust, immediately attacking Jian Wushuang and the other 2 as soon as they saw them. The pressure on the other 4 who had been under siege this whole time was suddenly reduced by a large amount. "It's them." The stout man changed his face after seeing Jian Wushuang and quickly said, "Run. We should get away while the Tianhuan sect disciples are fighting with them." "What?" The other 3 men froze. "Why should we leave? If we join hands with them, it is completely possible to kill all these Tianhuan sect disciples and grab the interspatial ring," a purple-dressed woman asked. Our alliance surely can kill all of the Tianhuan sect disciples. But after that, can we get the interspatial ring? Don't forget that Min just defeated us on her own. There is also Swordsman and that Ling Tianhao who has reached the exceptional spiritual C realm. We are no match for them at all if we fight against them," the stout man said with a chilly expression. "Instead of joining hands with them and then letting them take the interspatial ring, it would be better leave now and observe them secretly. After they finish the life and death struggle against the Tianhuan sect disciples, we can show up and obtain the ring without any effort." "Good idea. Both sides will suffer great losses in such a fierce battle. Whoever wins the battle will be weakened, and then we can easily defeat either side at that time." "I agree too." The other 3 soon agreed with the stout man. Chapter 53, Jian Wushuang showing his strength. "Since all of you have agreed, let's go," said the sturdy man, as a chilling smile appeared on his face. Then he quickly turned around and disappeared into the corridor with his companions, leaving Jian Wushuang and the other two to fight with the pack of Tianhuan sect disciples. Bastards! Damn it! Seeing that, Yanmin and Ling Tianhao cursed in rage with a peevish expression on their faces. This is troublesome. Jian Wushuang also felt a little worried. Including those four, along with Jian Wushuang, Yanmin, and Ling Tianhao, if these 7 exceptional spiritual Sea Realm masters fought together, they would easily defeat these Tianhuan sect disciples. However, with those 4 leaving, the remaining 3 had to fight with 5 exceptional spiritual Sea Realm disciples, a dozen profound spiritual Sea Realm and initial spiritual Sea Realm Tianhuan sect disciples. The situation was instantly at its worst. Haha, your companions seem to have abandoned you. Poor guys, prepare to get trashed. All the disciples of the Tianhuan sect laughed at Jian Wushuang and the other 2, lunging at them directly. Swordsman, Hazi, Mouse, let's fight. Yanmin shouted to Jian Wushuang and desperately rushed into the battlefield. I'll take 3 exceptional spiritual Sea Realm disciples. I'll count on you to handle the rest too. Several profound spiritual Sea Realm and initial realm disciples, Yanmin said in a deep voice. It was her ultimate limit to fight with 3 exceptional spiritual Sea Realm disciples at the same time. Let me take these 5 exceptional spiritual Sea Realm disciples. Jian Wushuang's words surprised Yanmin. Before she could reply, Jian Wushuang ran in front her with amazing speed and collided with the Tianhuan sect disciples. Whoosh! Suddenly a bright dazzling sword light swept across the 5 exceptional spiritual Sea Realm disciples simultaneously. What? How dare he fight with all 5 of us at the same time? He must be suicidal. Kill him. Those 5 exceptional spiritual Sea Realm disciples became furious and lunged towards Jian Wushuang. But when the dazzling sword light swept, zooming, the horrible sword essence rose suddenly and sharply. Watch out! The 5 exceptional spiritual Sea Realm disciples hurriedly changed from attack to defense. But when they came into contact with the sword light, these 5 figures fell back with 5 loud thumps. Shoot! 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 The wild sword shadows almost instantaneously spurted from Jian Wushuang's hands. The amazing speed of Aurora swordsmanship had soared to an incredible level ever since Jian Wushuang comprehended the sword essence of Gale. It's so fast. Amazing. Be careful. The Tianhuan disciples shouted with voices full of fear. Although the 5 exceptional spiritual Sea Realm disciples tried their best to withstand the sword shadows were too fast and arrived too quickly. Even though the sword shadows swept to 5 of them at the same time, it was still too fast to resist. Clang! 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 The sounds of clanks were heard one after another. The 5 exceptional spiritual Sea Realm disciples were hit by dozens of sword attacks, and 3 of them seemed to be unable to parry. Beep! A sword flash swept towards the throat of those 3 disciples. Chi! The 3 figures immediately fell backward. Damn it! Run! Seeing that, the Tianhuan sect disciples began escaping crazily with almost no hesitation. The 2 remaining exceptional spiritual Sea Realm disciples also lost the courage to fight with Jian Wushuang. The only thing they could do was run. He's too strong. Even with 5 of us together, his swordsmanship was so fast that he killed 3 of us in the blink of an eye. We'll all die here if we do not run. The 2 exceptional spiritual Sea Realm disciples were aware of the insurmountable gap between Jian Wushuang and them. Naturally, they did not dare to fight with Jian Wushuang anymore. Run! A cold voice without a hint of emotion rang out near one of the exceptional spiritual Sea Realm disciples. The disciple raised his head in horror, only to find Jian Wushuang standing in front of him and the triple kill sword stuck in him. No. The disciple only had time to make an unwilling roar before he was immediately killed. You are the owner of the interspatial ring. I can't let you get away from me. After killing the exceptional spiritual Sea Realm disciple, Jian Wushuang grinned and took the interspatial ring off the disciple's finger. As for the Tianhuan sect disciples that escaped, Jian Wushuang was not in the mood to chase after them. Swordsman! Swordsman! Jian Wushuang turned his head, finding Yin Min and Ling Tianhao with stunned expressions on their faces that were hard to describe. Jian Wushuang stroked his nose and then laughed in his sleeve. Last time, he deliberately lost to Dongfang Yu so he would not stand out, making people think he was weak. And during the mission this time, he still hadn't found a good chance to prove his ability because of Yin Min. He had finally reached the point where he could not hide it anymore. His strength shocked Yin Min and Ling Tianhao. Jian Wushuang killed 4 real exceptional spiritual Sea Realm disciples in an instant. What kind of strength was that? Yin Min knew that if she fought against 5 exceptional spiritual Sea Realm disciples, she could barely resist for a while before eventually losing. In the end, she would die even if she killed 1 of 2 of them by risking her life. Which meant that Jian Wushuang's strength was much more tremendous than hers. Haha, Swordsman, I admire you so much. When Ling Tianhao regained himself, he laughed and gave Jian Wushuang a bear hug. Swordsman, you hid your strength this whole time? Yin Min asked seriously. Yes, Jian Wushuang said and nodded. There was no sense in denying it now. You fought with 5 exceptional spiritual Sea Realm disciples on your own and killed 4 of them in a short time. This level of strength is not something me or Dongfang Yu can compare with. Swordsman, you disguised yourself pretty well, Yin Min said with a smile. The 4 who abandoned Jian Wushuang, Yin Min, and Ling Tianhao, gloating as they were surrounded by the Tianhuan sect disciples, were still very close. They were hiding in a room near the courtyard and heard everything Jian Wushuang and Yin Min said. Chapter 54, Haunting Like a Ghost. You'll see, even though Yin Min boasts immense strength, there is a large number of Tianhuan sect disciples at the level of profound spiritual Sea Realm and initial realm, as well as 5 disciples at exceptional spiritual Sea Realm. This kind of battle will definitely make them suffer, the stout man said gloatingly. But only a short while later they saw Jian Wushuang kill 4 of the exceptional spiritual Sea Realm disciples swiftly and cruelly, while the remaining Tianhuan sect disciples fled. The 4 of them were stunned. It's impossible. Unbelievable. That swordsman, how could he be so strong? I can't believe that he killed 4 exceptional spiritual Sea Realm disciples in such a short time. How could that happen? The 4 of them felt it was impossible. Meanwhile, they recalled the words they heard in Golden Dragon Subsidiary Palace. It was about Dongfang Yu defeating Jian Wushuang in only 3 moves. Today we personally witnessed Swordsman's strength. How was it possible that he couldn't resist Dongfang Yu? You must be kidding me. I would rather believe that Dongfang Yu was defeated by him in 3 moves, roared the stout man. How could his incredible strength be overcome by Dongfang Yu in 3 moves? That was ridiculous. It is a relief that we didn't have a real conflict with them, or, the stout man spoke in a relaxing tone. He counted himself fortunate to have never turned against Yin Min, even when she took interspatial ring away from him. He felt terrified when he thought of Jian Wushuang's immense power. Go. Be quick, the stout man roared. We should keep away from these 3 people until the mission is finished. All in all, we used them just now, and they might hold a grudge against us. I'm afraid that they will fight against us next time. Go. Hurry up. The others nodded and intended to escape in panic. Hey, do you see that? Said the woman in purple. The strong man turned his head at once. Suddenly his expression became weird. It's them. It's Dongfang Yu and his followers. They arrived just now and met Swordsman just in time. The 4 were just about ready to leave, but at this moment their steps suddenly stopped. On the corridor, Jian Wushuang and his companions also noticed Dongfang Yu and his followers. It's Dongfang Yu. Yinmin and Ling Tianhao glanced at Jian Wushuang with queer complexions. Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows and smiled slightly but said nothing. Dongfang Yu, you are like a ghost, constantly haunting us, Yinmin said in a cold voice and cast a glance towards Dongfang Yu. Yinmin, I'm surprised that the two trash following you are still alive. Lucky guys. Dongfang Yu appeared in front of them, speaking with an arrogant voice, let's get to the point. Yinmin, since you guys have been in the Tianhuan sect for a while now, I bet you have an interspatial ring, right? Interspatial ring. Yinmin said with a sneer. Then she stretched out her right hand as a light purple ring shined dazzlingly on her fourth finger. Here it is. If you want it, come and take it. At the sight of the interspatial ring on Yinmin's hand, the eyes of the five people behind Dongfang Yu brightened and a flash of heat appeared in their eyes. Oh, you really do have one. But only one ring. Dongfang Yu sneered at her and turned his head to his five followers. Then he said, let's go. The people following Dongfang Yu hesitated, but eventually they left with him. However, Dongfang Yu glanced at Jian Wushuang and Ling Tianhao as he left and said in a low voice, you two trash are very lucky to have Yinmin as your pillar. But there are only 10 interspatial rings. Even I only managed to get one of them. How dare you expect to get them? Dongfang Yu left once he finished speaking. What a contemptuous look. But he would never think that our swordsman has the second interspatial ring, Ling Tianhao said before pursing his lips. I'm surprised he didn't bother us. That was my fault. I should have given the ring to you, Huzi, mouse. If Dongfang Yu knew an interspatial ring was in your hands, he would definitely try to take it from you without hesitation. She was definitely hoping to see Dongfang Yu try to take the ring just now. If he had started a fight, Jian Wushuang would have instantly given him a lesson. But Dongfang Yu had no desire to snatch the interspatial ring when he saw that it was in her possession. Things would totally change if the interspatial ring was Ling Tianhao's. Huzi, mouse, the second interspatial ring, it's yours. Jian Wushuang gave the ring to Ling Tianhao. Swordsman, what happened to you? Ling Tianhao looked at Jian Wushuang in astonishment, instead of accepting the ring. I need you two to do me a favor. Jian Wushuang said directly. How can we help you? Yinmin also turned to face him. See this attic? Jian Wushuang stared at the attic beside him and said with a smile, I want to cultivate alone in this attic with no interruptions, so I need you two to safeguard me. Cultivate. You want to cultivate now? Yinmin and Ling Tianhao both felt astonished. Did you have a breakthrough? Yinmin asked spontaneously. Yes, Jian Wushuang said and nodded. Really? Yinmin and Ling Tianhao were both surprised. They believed the fighting capacity of Jian Wushuang was already incredible among people in the spiritual sea realm. If he made a breakthrough, he would probably reach the gold core. Primordial gold core, a level they hope to reach someday. I need some time to cultivate, but I don't know how long I will need. Maybe our mission will finish before I'm done with my cultivation. So the second interspatial ring naturally belongs to you, Huzi, mouse. After all, it's your last chance to attempt the Golden Dragon Guard mission. If you fail, you will never be able to become a Golden Dragon Guard for the rest of your life. But it's not the same for me, Jian Wushuang said while smiling. I see, Ling Tianhao understood, so he nodded his head with a smile and said, thanks a lot. You can count on us to guard this area. We won't let anyone disturb you. Thanks, said Jian Wushuang. Then he smiled and went straight into the attic. Yinmin and Ling Tianhao stood guard in front of the attic. The stout man and his companions witnessed it all because they were still near the courtyard. What is Swordsman doing? Why did he go into the attic? Did he suddenly comprehend something? Is he going to make a breakthrough? Will he reach the gold core? Their complexions became uneasy. The strength of Jian Wushuang was already so terrifying. What kind of level would he reach after he made a breakthrough? Don't mind what he does. From now on, if we meet the three of them, we turn round immediately, the stout man said and left with the others in a hurry. Chapter 55, Breakthrough into the Ultimate Spiritual Sea. It was true Jian Wushuang was about to achieve a breakthrough, but not in the way that Yin Min and the others thought he would. The breakthrough was not into the gold core, but the spiritual sea realm. No one knew that Jian Wushuang, who could easily kill an expert that had achieved the exceptional spiritual sea realm, had not even entered the realm yet. He sat cross-legged inside the attic, where a boundless spiritual power was beginning to come together inside his body. Having reached the top of the 9th heaven of divine path 3 months ago, his breakthrough would happen at any given time. Earlier, while fighting 3 experts of the exceptional spiritual sea realm, he unexpectedly noticed signs that his spiritual power was about to break through. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for a breakthrough. Naturally, he did not dare to make any delays. Others are in the realm of spiritual sea, but I'm in the ultimate spiritual sea. Jian Wushuang smiled. In the first place, the heavenly creation skill was heaven-defying cultivation method. Cultivating the skill was an act in defiance of the natural order. With every step, he was defying nature and becoming extraordinary. Ordinary martial arts who cultivated the spirit path were in the spiritual realm of 7 realms of spirit steps. Martial artists cultivating the heavenly creation skill, on the other hand, was in the 9 heavens of divine path. The typical warrior would be in the spiritual sea from spiritual power, while those who cultivated the heavenly creation skill would break through into the ultimate spiritual sea. I wonder what's the so-called expansion of the ultimate spiritual sea? Jian Wushuang felt excited. Inside him, his condensed spiritual power was charging at the barrier of his breakthrough, crashing into it. The spiritual power only made impact several times for breaking the barrier. The rest of his spiritual power instantly flowed into all his tendons and vessels. Here came the ultimate spiritual sea. He finally understood the ultimate spiritual sea really was after the breakthrough. It's the amount of spiritual power. I've only broken through into the spiritual sea realm, but there's so much more spiritual power in my body. I'd say it's 10 times more than the ordinary spiritual sea realm warrior. Surprise crossed his face. Compared with the spiritual sea from spiritual power of ordinary warriors, the spiritual power of ultimate spiritual sea is vaster. The spiritual sea realm was divided into 3 levels, namely the initial, profound, and exceptional realm. There would be a vast improvement in spiritual power in every level advancement. But it was a different story for ultimate spiritual sea. Instead of having the profound realm and initial realm stages, the ultimate spiritual sea had 3 levels that increased the amount of spiritual power with each advancement. Now that Jian Wushuang had entered the first level of the ultimate spiritual sea, his spiritual power was 10 times the amount of spiritual sea realm warrior. In stage 2 of the ultimate spiritual sea, his spiritual power would be 100 times the amount of spiritual sea realm warriors. If he reached stage 3, then his spiritual power could be described as truly endless. The amount of spiritual power available should not be taken lightly. Warriors need a strong foundation of spiritual power whether to fight with others or display their martial arts. If they exhaust their spiritual power from a prolonged battle or tricky martial arts, they could only wait to be killed. And what did an endless spiritual power meant? That meant if he was fighting someone of a similar strength, he could rely on his endless spiritual power to prolong the battle and wait for his opponent to exhaust his own. This was truly an unbelievably strong advantage. However, through all 3 levels of the ultimate spiritual sea, only the amount of spiritual power would increase and not strengthen itself. That was to say, his spiritual force outbreak would remain consistent throughout. This was unlike ordinary spiritual sea realm warriors who would see a great improvement in their spiritual power outbreak with each level breakthrough. But that did not bother Jian Wushuang. It's only normal that spiritual power outbreak doesn't improve. After all, his spiritual power outbreak was already comparable to that of the exceptional spiritual sea realm when he was at the peak of the ninth heaven of divine path. If his spiritual power increased to its peak after achieving the final level of the ultimate spiritual sea, could anyone still survive after fighting him? My spiritual power outbreak, he closed his eyes and made a fist. He felt the explosive power in his hand, experiencing a far stronger energy than he had ever felt. A smile came to his face. I've now broken through into the ultimate spiritual sea. Though I won't see any improvements in my spiritual power outbreak in the second and third stage in the future, my current spiritual power outbreak is now good enough to surpass an expert of the gold core realm. He was only in the first level of the ultimate spiritual sea, yet he had spiritual power outbreak of a primordial gold core. His spiritual power, in particular, surpassed that of ordinary spiritual sea realm warriors. This was the ultimate cultivation of the sky after the expansion of the ultimate spiritual sea. Just as Jian Wushuang was marveling at his breakthrough, something else was going on in the underground secret chamber of the Tianhuan sect. Shadows wrapped in black robes appeared one after another. The screams above are getting fainter. Looks like the fighting is coming to an end in the Tianhuan sect, a man with silver mask said. The warriors of the Golden Dragon Palace have been fighting above for nearly 2 hours, enough time for them to wipe out the entire sect twice. Most spiritual sea realm warriors of the Tianhuan sect had already been slaughtered. Most who remained had already fled, with only a handful still scattered in the corners of the sect. Basically, the fight was about to be over very soon. But just then, something happened. Boom! The door to the secret room was kicked open, followed by the sound of hearty laughter. Ha ha! I didn't expect there's a secret room inside the Tianhuan sect. What's in this room? All the robed men inside the secret room instantly became cold when they heard the laughter. The door of the secret room opened and 4 shadows stepped one after another. If Jian Wushuang were here, he would definitely recognize them at a glance, for they were the ones who had framed him in the past. The minute the 4 men stepped into the secret room, the 9 robed men all glared at them with a deadly coldness. The silver-masked man's gaze was even more severe, piercing enough to stab a human heart like a sword. Oh! Feeling the glares of the robed men, the 4 men seemed like their hearts had momentarily stopped beating. That stout man opened his mouth, wanting to say something. But in that instant, the silver-masked man instantly disappeared. When he reappeared again, he was already standing behind the stout man. The stout man's eyes rounded. He felt a warm sensation in his throat and found only gushing warm blood when he touched his throat. Thud! The 4 intruders collapsed on the ground. The silver-masked man suddenly spoke, his cold voice reverberating inside the secret room. Since we're already exposed, there's no longer any need to hide. Follow me and just kill our way out. I'd like to see who dare stop me. Chapter 56, Death to those who stop me. Dongfang Yu stood on the roof of an attic, looking cold. He had 5 experts following him earlier, but now 1 was missing. There were too many spiritual sea realm warriors in the Tianhuan sect. Though Dongfang Yu and his 5 companions of the exceptional spiritual sea realm were strong, it was not enough for them to rampage through the sect. Not too long ago, they even lost one of their companions in a fierce battle. It's been 2 hours. Those Tianhuan sect warriors that weren't dead had all fled. There aren't many of them left. We've found 3 interspatial ring. I suppose the rest have found the remaining 7, said Dongfang Yu. The 4 people behind him appeared grim. Dongfang Yu would definitely claim one of the 3 things, while they had to share the remaining 2. 2 of them were destined to go back empty-handed, failing to accomplish the mission. These 2 interspatial ring, Dongfang Yu was just about to assign the rings between themselves. Boom! When they felt a terrifying aura suddenly emerging, the 5 of them immediately turned toward the source of the aura. They saw robed shadows appearing one after another, all wearing masks and bearing intense murderous intentions. The one who was the most striking was the man with the silver mask. He was the source of the terrifying aura they felt earlier, so strong that Dongfang Yu could not help the change in his expression. Gold core. It's an expert of the gold core realm. There's actually an expert of the gold core realm in the Tianhuan sect. Everyone from the Golden Dragon Palace was also shocked after sensing the fearsome aura. The difference between the primordial gold core and the spiritual sea realm was like heaven and earth. Even Dongfang Yu, who was close to achieving the gold core, would be defeated by an expert of gold core realm. Worse, he could even be instantly killed. The fearsome aura burst forth from within the silver-masked man, seemingly forming a great storm. When the man charged forward, the storm seemed to be swept away. "Death to those who stop me," the man roared, creating a commotion in the Tianhuan sect that had just recently fallen into a brief silence. "Let's go, fast," Dongfang Yu said. Together with his 4 companions, he jumped off the roof in haste and disappeared. He was afraid to even show up in the robed men's line of sight for fear of them targeting him. Whoosh! A figure abruptly appeared before the group of robed men. It was none other than the gray-clothed elder, Mr. Huo. "Are you people from the Blood-Feather Tower?" Mr. Huo appeared grim. He did not expect there would be so many assassins of the Blood-Feather Tower to be hidden within the Tianhuan sect. "Good that you know." The silver-masked man relaxed when he saw the man before him was a mere gold core warrior and realized that the Golden Dragon ambassador was gone. He sneered and said, "Our Blood-Feather Tower doesn't intend on making enemies with the Golden Dragon Palace. Today, you're here to destroy the Tianhuan sect. That has nothing to do with us. We just so happen to witness it. In that case, then I ask you that you leave immediately. In addition, you're not to fight with these rookies who have just accepted the mission of the Golden Dragon Guard. Otherwise," Mr. Huo said in a low voice. As the #1 assassination organization of Tianzhong dynasty, the Blood-Feather Tower did not have a pervasive influence in the Tianese province. But it was better not to provoke them if there was not a need to. "Don't worry. We just want to leave this place. We naturally won't hurt them as long as they don't stop us." The silver-masked man smiled. He glanced at the 8 black-robed men beside him and said, "Let's go. Kill anyone who dares to get in our way." "Yes." Their figures blurring into mere shadows, the black-robed men jumped onto the pavilion roof and started leaping from one roof to another. Whether it was the remaining Tianhuan sect disciples or the rookies from the Golden Dragon Palace, none dared to stop the impressive sight of an expert of Gold Core Realm leading 8 exceptional spiritual Sea Realm warriors. Just then, Jian Wushuang had stepped out of the attic after breaking through into the ultimate spiritual sea. The moment he came out, he instantly sensed the terrifying aura permeating the Tianhuan sect. He immediately leaped to the roof, finding Yinmin and Ling Tianhao already there. "Those are..." Yinmin and Ling Tianhao noticed many robed silhouettes leaping across roofs, charging in their direction. They were particularly frightened by the terrifying aura bursting from the silver-masked man. They both immediately recognized the silver-masked man. "It's a gold core standout. 1 gold core and 8 profound spiritual Sea Realm warriors. They're heading in our direction. Let's retreat." They did not hesitate and also warned Jian Wushuang. "Swordsman, hurry up and leave." But Jian Wushuang did not show any signs of wanting to escape. He remained rooted in place, staring coolly at the robed shadows before him. Black robes, masks. Blood-Feather Tower. He muttered these 3 words through gritted teeth, as a burning killing intent raged within him. "OM." He swiped at the men with a ringing sound, releasing his sword essence. The majestic stream of murderous intention and sword essence merged together to be one and flew up to the 9th heaven. The incomparably mysterious power within his body, the power of sword soul, in his body seemed to be gradually awakening at the same time. Jian Wushuang had unsheathed his triple kill sword in a flash and stood coolly on the roof of the attic as if he was the king of swordsmanship dominating everyone's lives and deaths, drawing everyone's attention to him. "Swordsman, hurry up and go." Yinmin and Ling Tianhao were surprised to see Jian Wushuang not escaping. Instead, he was standing there bearing a strong intention to battle it out with the robed men. In every corner of the Tianhuan sect, the surviving warriors who had accepted the mission were all standing on rooftops. They had also spotted the figure emitting a strong fighting desire. "It's him. It's the swordsman." These people recognized Jian Wushuang. What is this trash trying to do? He must have gone mad with fear. 8 of those black-robed men were exceptional spiritual Sea Realm warriors, and the last was even an expert of Gold Core Realm. He should have retreated after seeing such a group. Dongfang Yu said, "He's really digging his own grave." Chapter 57, Swordsman, Outburst of Power. On the roof, Jian Wushuang had the aura of a master swordsman as he stared at those black-robed men with a chilling expression. Both sides continued moving towards each other. The black-robed men fiercely raced across the rooftops. Upon noticing Jian Wushuang standing in their way, their eyes flashed with killing intent. "Kill him," said one of the black-robed men. Like to said to Mr. Huo, they only wanted to leave. But if someone wanted to stop them, they would attack and kill them without hesitation. Jian Wushuang was clearly planning to stop them. "Swordsman, retreat! Retreat, retreat, retreat!" Yinmin and Ling Tianhao shouted widely at Jian Wushuang, but Jian Wushuang did not move at all. "Retreat? Should I retreat? Impossible!" Jian Wushuang roared in his heart. He was too weak 4 months ago, so he could only run away while being chased by a great number of silver and golden masked assassins from the Blood Feather Tower. But now, 4 months later, everything had changed. More importantly, his opponents were just 1 silver masked assassin and 8 copper masked assassins. They were not strong enough to make him retreat. Since he did not have to retreat, he would fight. This is war. I couldn't afford to stand out in the Golden Dragon subsidiary palace because there were too many people around. But everything that happens during the Golden Dragon Palace task is top secret. No one would dare to spread the information. So I don't have to worry about drawing attention or my true strength being revealed. Jian Wushuang raised his head, looking at them with cold eyes that were void of any emotion. He moved directly in front of the black-robed men and abruptly swung his triple-kill sword. The first move of anonymous swordsmanship, Blood Shadow. The speed of his sword flashed out. At this moment, it was even more incredible, cold, and harsh than ever before. On the roof, except for the silver-masked man, the other 8 black-robed men saw a dazzling sword light move towards them, with the reflection in their eyes growing larger. The sword light was too fast. A hint of panic could be felt coming from the 8 black-robed men. In the next moment, the sword flash swept past the necks of those 8 men without any obstruction. The 8 black-robed men fell down without making a sound. All of a sudden, the whole Tianhuan sect went dead still. Silence, dead silence. Everyone in the Tianhuan sect was shocked by this terrifying sword speed. On top of the roof, the silver-masked man in a black robe was the only one still standing in front of Jian Wushuang. He glanced at the black-robed men who had all just died and felt frightened. He also saw the stroke from Jian Wushuang. The only one stroke swept past the necks of the 8 men at an amazing speed, killing all 8 of the exceptional spiritual Sea Realm assassins from Blood Feather Tower. "Who are you?" The silver-masked man in a black robe asked with unprecedented seriousness. "I am Swordsman," Jian Wushuang answered indifferently. "I only want to leave here. I'm not trying to impede your task, and I'm not a person from the Tianhuan sect. I shouldn't be a target from your task," the silver-masked man in a black robe said in a low voice. "It has nothing to do with the Golden Dragon Palace. You were all dead the moment I saw you," Jian Wushuang said without any emotion. "Let's see who die first." The silver-masked man in a black robe turned into a stream of light and appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. A dark red dagger pierced the air and immediately moved towards Jian Wushuang's head with an unprecedented speed. At the same time, a gruff voice from the silver-masked man in black robe rang out. "Go to hell!" The eyes of the silver-masked man in a black robe were filled with killing intent. As an assassin at the silver mask level in the blood-feathered tower, his first move was a slaughter move. "Ridiculous," said Jian Wushuang. Smiling indifferently, he charged toward the killer. This seemingly casual sword move was the first move of anonymous swordsmanship, Blood Shadow. The speed of the sword light was unbelievably quick. That was the sword movement. The grey-robed elder, Mr. Huo, concentrated on this rooftop fight in the near distance. He looked serious. Sword essence of Gale, he grasped a sense of this word essence of Gale. And his understanding of it is very deep. The sword movement was so quick. Yes, the speed was very fast. The dark red dagger had not reached Jian Wushuang, yet the sword light from Jian Wushuang's attack had already moved towards the silver-masked man in a black robe. Clang! As a deep metal crash sounded, the silver-masked man suddenly felt a strong power surge through his dark red dagger. The power of the clash instantly numbed his hands and forced him to retreat. The silver-masked man gaped in shock at Jian Wushuang. He hasn't reached primordial golden core, but his spiritual power is as strong as mine. More importantly, his swordsmanship is faster and superior to mine. Sword essence. Yes, he has grasped a sense of sword essence. It was no wonder that the silver-masked man in a black robe was so stunned. He could tell that Jian Wushuang had not reached the level of primordial golden pill yet. After all, spiritual power had a qualitative change once it reached the level of primordial golden pill. Once it was released, spiritual power at the primordial golden pill level couldn't be hidden. He didn't sense an aura at the level of the golden pill from Jian Wushuang. So he was sure that Jian Wushuang had not reached the level of primordial golden pill realm. This alone was enough to thoroughly surprise him. He has reached the peak of initial gold core realm, and there was only one step away from profound gold core realm. He used a slaughter move, but he was thoroughly defeated by Jian Wushuang, who had not even reached the gold core yet. What does it mean? Run. The silver-masked man in a black robe instantly made a decision. He could only run. As an assassin, speed was his strong point, so he fled for his life. However, the speed of Jian Wushuang was much faster than his. Trying to escape. Jian Wushuang said indifferently. What? The silver-masked man in a black robe was astonished and filled with a sense of bitterness. Warriors with a sense of the sword essence of Gale are best at speed. Go to hell, Jian Wushuang said while releasing a strong killing intent. It was the second move of anonymous swordsmanship, sword-killing movement. A dazzling and bloody sword light appeared. This strike is even faster and stronger than the previous one. The silver-masked man in a black robe was full of despair and he even gave up on fighting back at this moment. The dazzling bloody sword light easily slashed out through his neck. Spurt. The silver-masked man in a black robe, at the level of initial gold core realm, was lying dead on the ground. Chapter 58, Contemptible Scoundrel. In Tianhuan sect, everyone was surprised to see the silver-masked man in a black robe falling down. He was as proud as a peacock just now and said that no one could stand in his way. But he was killed by someone else in only a second. And it was a person who accepted a one-clawed gold dragon guard mission. Swordsman, he, unexpectedly killed a gold core realm expert. He killed all 8 people in the exceptional spiritual sea realm and even the expert in the gold core realm. He couldn't even run away. Is he the same swordsman who could not take 3 moves from Dongfang Yu? He can kill in 8 gold core realm experts, but he could not take 3 attacks from Dongfang Yu. Everyone was shocked by what they had just witnessed. As for Dongfang Yu, his expression was extremely funny. How was that possible? Dongfang Yu murmured. His eyes were empty. He simply could not believe it. He killed 8 people in the exceptional spiritual sea realm. He even killed the gold core realm expert in one move. That man didn't even get a chance to run away. What level was his strength at? And it was the same man that could not take 3 moves from him during recruitment that did it. He couldn't believe it. He recalled what he said to Jian Wushuang at the beginning of the mission, "You are just a waste. There are so many people in the Tianhuan sect that can kill you." His words had been full of disdain. Thinking back to those words, Dongfang Yu's complexion became very pale. He suddenly realized that Jian Wushuang must have lost on purpose. After killing the silver-masked man in a black robe on the roof, Jian Wushuang looked over and noticed Dongfang Yu inside the courtyard. Whoosh! Jian Wushuang moved swiftly towards Dongfang Yu, appearing in front of him in a second. Whoosh! An icy sword edge hit Dongfang Yu's throat. "Hand over your interspatial ring, or you will die," Jian Wushuang said coldly without any emotion. Dongfang Yu moved his throat, clearly sensing the icy sword edge, remembering the recent death of the man of Gold Core Realm. He had no doubt that Jian Wushuang could do it. The 4 people behind Dongfang Yu had disdained Jian Wushuang earlier, but now they did not even dare to breathe. Should I refuse? Dongfang Yu roared in mind. His small and fragile self-esteem fought with his reason, but in the end, his reason prevailed. While trembling, Dongfang Yu handed over an interspatial ring to Jian Wushuang without too much hesitation. Jian Wushuang took the interspatial ring and smiled. He looked Dongfang Yu up and down as if he was a contemptible scoundrel. Finally, Jian Wushuang withdrew and sheathed the triple kill sword, walking away without a single word. Dongfang Yu and the 4 people sighed with relief after Jian Wushuang went away. At that moment, they were totally soaked in sweat, especially Dongfang Yu. He was still trembling even now. Suddenly Dongfang Yu turned to the 4 people behind him. An interspatial ring was taken away by Swordsman. That means only 2 people can finish the task now. Dongfang Yu looked gloomy. Then the complexions of the 4 people behind Dongfang Yu turned serious. Yanmin and Ling Tianhao were waiting in the courtyard. It didn't take long for Jian Wushuang to arrive. Ling Tianhao moved towards Jian Wushuang and smiled, "Haha, Swordsman, innate Gold Core Realm, a real Gold Core Realm expert was killed by you. You are so awesome." "You were indeed awesome, Swordsman." Yanmin gave Jian Wushuang the thumbs up. "Well, the reason why your strength improved so much was because you had made a breakthrough, right?" "Yes." Jian Wushuang nodded. The reason that he was able to kill the 8 in the exceptional spiritual sea realm with only 1 stroke and even kill the silver-masked man in a black robe, who was at the peak of the initial Gold Core realm, was because he made a breakthrough and reached the ultimate spirit sea. As a result, his spiritual power improved to a level similar to an average warrior in the Gold Core realm. If he had not made a breakthrough, he could not have killed the silver-masked man in black robe so easily. "We should leave here," Jian Wushuang said. "What about the ring?" Ling Tianhao asked. "Don't worry. I took an interspatial ring just now," Jian Wushuang said. "Oh." Yanmin and Ling Tianhao both felt surprised. "I saw Dongfang Yu and snatched an interspatial ring from him just now," said Jian Wushuang, smiling weirdly. After hearing that, both Yanmin and Ling Tianhao showed great interest. "Haha, Swordsman, did you confront Dongfang Yu?" Ling Tianhao looked excited. "I don't think Dongfang Yu has enough courage to fight with you. He must have handed over the interspatial ring immediately." "Haha, I wonder how terrible the expression on his face was," Yanmin said and laughed. "Certainly, it must have been very ugly," Ling Tianhao said and also laughed. Both Yanmin and Ling Tianhao had some kind of beef with Dongfang Yu, so they disliked him. But they both could not contend with him. So it was reasonable for them to be so excited when they heard that Dongfang Yu suffered a defeat on Swordsman's hand. Jian Wushuang only shook his head and smiled. In his eyes, Dong Fangyu was just a contemptible scoundrel and could not make a difference at all. Outside this gigantic valley, the grey-robed elder Mr. Huo waited quietly. Some warriors in the one-clawed gold dragon guard mission had recently returned. Mr. Huo didn't pay any attention to them though. However, when Jian Wushuang, Lin Min, and Lin Tianhao came back safe and sound, everyone immediately looked in their direction. Swordsman. Although he only reached spiritual sea realm, he killed an expert in primordial gold core. It was too awesome. The people who witnessed the death of the 9 black-robed men had complicated expressions while they looked at Jian Wushuang more carefully this time. Even the grey-robed elder, Mr. Huo, gave Jian Wushuang a friendly smile. Mr. Huo said gently, "Well done, kiddo." "Thanks," Jian Wushuang said modestly. "Please wait for a while," said Mr. Huo with a smile. Chapter 59, Invitation. The experts, who had accepted the task, came back one after another. Dong Fangyu, followed by the brown-haired man, was the last to arrive, but his appearance looked a little unnatural. "It's good that there are still 15 people alive in the end," Mr. Huo said indifferently with a casual glance. However, everyone else looked awestruck. More than 30 people at the exceptional spiritual sea realm accepted this mission, but only 15 people survived in the end. In other words, more than half of the people died during the mission. Some were killed by disciples from the Tianhuan sect, while the ones killed by fellow examines is probably not only a few. Jian Wushuang thought secretly. Take Dong Fangyu for example. He was followed by 5 martial masters in the beginning, but now there was only the brown-haired man, who was seriously injured. So it was very clear to Jian Wushuang how the other 4 people had died. "Everyone who has an interspatial ring should give it to me," said Mr. Huo. Among the 15 people who survived, 10 stepped forward to hand in their rings. At which point, Mr. Huo took out a list and recorded their names. After recording their names, Mr. Huo waved his hand and threw them gold rings. "These are your gold dragon rings. The claw marks represent your rank in the gold dragon guard. 1 claw mark stands for 1 clawed gold dragon guard while 2 stands for 2 clawed gold dragon guard. From this day forth, you are members of the gold dragon guard," Mr. Huo said loudly. After receiving the rings, Jian Wushuang and the other 9, who had completed the task, immediately used their blood to bind the rings. "Is this an interspatial ring?" Jian Wushuang became aware of the space contained in the interspatial ring when he inspected it with his mind. Then he laughed and said, "This interspatial ring will make it more convenient to carry things. You should be exhausted after completing the task, so you can take a break before returning to Qingdong City." After saying this, Mr. Huo glanced at Jian Wushuang and said, "Little guy, come with me." Jian Wushuang felt surprised as he followed Mr. Huo to the side. "Little guy, you hid so well. I did not notice the slightest flaw when you were defeated by Dong Fangyu within 3 rounds 3 days ago." Mr. Huo glanced at Jian Wushuang with a smile. Jian Wushuang only smiled awkwardly. "If I'm not mistaken, you should have some grievances with the Blood Feather Tower, right?" Mr. Huo asked suddenly. Jian Wushuang's complexion changed immediately. "It seems that I guessed right." It was clear to Mr. Huo when he saw the change in Jian Wushuang's expression. Every action has a reason. There must have been a reason for you to prefer giving up your face and allowing Dong Fangyu to defeat you within 3 rounds at the Gold Dragon subsidiary palace. Yet, during this mission, you killed all the people from Blood Feather Tower. So, I guess that you must have a huge feud with Blood Feather Tower. Hearing that, Jian Wushuang could only shrug his shoulders, replying in a deep voice, "I do, in fact, have a grudge with Blood Feather Tower. Unless I die, I will never stop seeking revenge." "Unless you die?" Mr. Huo frowned. Blood Feather Tower is the #1 assassin organization in the Tianzong dynasty. Their actions are very cruel and extreme. In the Tianzong dynasty, There are many people who have grudges with the Blood Feather Tower, deathless endlessly, but Tianese province is not the main province where Blood Feather Tower operates. Their insidious hidden strength cannot be underestimated. If you are spotted by them, you will be in a big trouble, Mr. Huo said and smiled. But don't worry, the rehabilitation capacity of our Golden Dragon Palace is always good, and in general, it's not possible to let out the course of this mission. Therefore, although you have killed several martial experts of Blood Feather Tower, you don't need to worry about being spotted by the people of Blood Feather Tower. I know, Jian Wushuang said and nodded. But don't worry, our Gold Dragon Palace is always good at dealing with the aftermath. In general, it's impossible for the information of this mission to be leaked. Therefore, although you have killed several experts from Blood Feather Tower, you won't have to worry about being targeted by Blood Feather Tower. Little guy, you should have heard of Dragon Palace. Mr. Huo asked suddenly. Of course I have. Jian Wushuang nodded heavily. It will be much simpler if you already know about the Dragon Palace. Are you interested in cultivating in the Dragon Palace? Asked Mr. Huo while smiling mysteriously. Go to the Dragon Palace to cultivate? Jian Wushuang asked while surprised. Dragon Palace was a holy place full of exceptional geniuses. Jian Wushuang has always wanted to join a group like Dragon Palace, a place which was full of geniuses and monsters. Can I join Dragon Palace? Jian Wushuang asked immediately. I'm uncertain whether you can actually join Dragon Palace to cultivate. But, based on your performance in the Tianhuan sect, you can easily kill someone at the peak of initial Gold Core realm in just 2 moves while you are only in spiritual C realm. This is incredible, and you can absolutely be called a monster, so you have a very good chance of entering Dragon Palace. Therefore, if you are willing to wait, I will ask for a Gold Dragon Ambassador to come and verify your actual strength once we return to Qingdong City. As long as you can gain the recognition and recommendation of the Gold Dragon Ambassador, you will have a chance cultivate at Dragon Palace. Mr. Huo paused and glanced at Jian Wushuang afterwards. So I'll ask you now, do you want to go to Dragon Palace for cultivation? Yes, of course I do, Jian Wushuang nodded and said immediately, without any hesitation. Dragon Palace was a holy place for cultivation. Numerous talents in the Tianzong dynasty were eager to join and cultivate, and Jian Wushuang was no exception. After all, a warrior who cultivated blindly by himself could become an expert, but compared with warriors who had a lot of resources and were instructed by experts, he would still be inferior. Jian Wushuang possessed remarkable ability in swordmanship because he had followed his father in practicing swordsmanship since he was a child. Therefore, he knew very well that there was a large difference between having a teacher and learning on his own. Haha, I will immediately arrange for you as you wish after returning to Qingdong City. In addition, it doesn't matter if you eventually didn't enter into Dragon Palace, but once you enter into Dragon Palace, you needn't care about Blood Feather Tower. Because Dragon Palace will protect its talented disciples strictly, even Blood Feather Tower is hard to find chance to kill you, and even if there is a chance, they dare not to kill the disciples of Dragon Palace. Mr. Huo said with a smile. After hearing these words, Jian Wushuang's eyes lit up again. What was he most worried about? It was not having the chance to grow up and become stronger, the chance that Blood Feather Tower did not want to give him. If he joined the Dragon Palace, he could grow up slowly over the next few years under the protection of the Dragon Palace. He would even have a chance to grow strong enough to make the Blood Feather Tower treat him seriously, maybe even fear him. Chapter 60, Yerufeng. Jian Wushuang returned to where Yinmin and Ling Tianhao were after his conversation with Mr. Huo. Brother Swordsman, what did His Excellency say? The impatient Ling Tianhao immediately asked. He asked me if I want to join the Dragon Palace, Jian Wushuang said. Join the Dragon Palace? Ling Tianhao stared at him wide-eyed. The Dragon Palace. Yinmin was also looking at him in shock. The warriors who accepted the mission with them also overheard Jian Wushuang's answer, and their expressions changed. Some looked envious, some appeared shocked, and there were also those who shot him looks of longing. Dong Fangyu's expression, in particular, was complex beyond measure. He still remembered how his great master, Zhu Tao, had been complimenting him on his ability to join the Dragon Place when they were in the Golden Dragon subsidiary palace. He said Dong Fangyu only lacked someone to recommend him. But Mr. Huo did not even spare him a glance. Yet Mr. Huo had taken the initiative to invite Jian Wushuang to join the Dragon Palace. The way he treated them both was too dramatically different. Humph. So what if Mr. Huo is willing to play matchmaker? The recommendation list is with the Golden Dragon Ambassador, not Mr. Huo. Even if Mr. Huo has the recommendation list, it's not like he'll be able to join the Dragon Place if he wants to. Dong Fangyu was feeling a deep envy toward Jian Wushuang. Now, listen carefully. The sonorous voice of Mr. Huo suddenly reverberated as his gaze traveled around the place. The missions issued by our Golden Dragon Palace have always been secrets. Though you've joined the mission, you mustn't reveal anything about it, whether it's the process or the result. If it is leaked and we find out it's you, we'll kill you no matter who you are. Everyone looked serious. No one dared to defy the rules of the Golden Dragon Palace. Well, let's go back to the Qingdong city. With a wave of Mr. Huo's hand, everyone immediately embarked on their way back to the Qingdong city. They all felt tense when they made their way here, but much more relaxed now that their mission was done. Those who had officially become the one-clawed Golden Dragon Guard were in especially high spirits. Before long, they made it back to the Golden Dragon subsidiary palace in the Qingdong city. The second they reached the place, Mr. Huo immediately said to Jian Wushuang, "Young man, come with me to see the Golden Dragon Ambassador." "Sure." Jian Wushuang nodded. "Brother Swordsman, I really need to thank you this time. Go ahead and see the Golden Dragon Messenger. When you return, we must have a good drink," said Ling Tianhao, smiling. "Huzi, Mouse, and I will be waiting for you at the Celestial Immortal Residence with good wine," Yinmin said with a smile. "No problem." Jian Wushuang nodded with a smile. He then followed Mr. Huo in the direction of the inner hall of the attic. When they came to an empty secret room, Mr. Huo said, "Wait here for a moment. I'll go meet the Golden Dragon Ambassador." "Thank you." Jian Wushuang nodded. Mr. Huo was not gone for long. Soon, he returned with a grim-looking middle-aged man dressed in a crimson robe. Jian Wushuang had met this man before. It was none other than the Golden Dragon Ambassador who had killed 14 experts of the Gold Core realm of the Tianhuan sect. He immediately bowed. "Your Excellency, Golden Dragon Ambassador." "Huo man, is he the young man who you mentioned has the chance to cultivate in the Dragon Palace?" the middle-aged man asked. "Yes, his name is Swordsman," Huo man replied. "Swordsman? It's probably a pseudonym." When the middle-aged man looked at Jian Wushuang, he felt as if he was being targeted by an ancient fierce beast. "I'll introduce myself first, young man. I'm Yirufeng, and, as for my rank, you should be aware that I'm the Golden Dragon Ambassador of the Golden Dragon Palace," Yirufeng said slowly. "Earlier Huo man has told me about you and he spoke highly of you. But the recommendation list to enter the Dragon Palace is in my hands. So if you want to join us for cultivation, you must first display enough talent to satisfy me." "I understand." Jian Wushuang nodded. "Good. I'll be your opponent. Show me all that you've got, and remember, you don't have many opportunities," Yirufeng said. "Yes." Jian Wushuang took a deep breath, his expression turning solemn. As what Yirufeng had mentioned, he truly did not have many opportunities. "Golden Dragon Ambassador, I'll start." He was already gripping his triple kill sword and a strong fighting desire rose in him. "Feel free to come at me." Yirufeng had his hands behind his back and wore an indifferent expression. Anonymous swordsmanship, sword-killing movement. Jian Wushuang's eyes turned cold as he gathered his killing intent. A stream of dazzling bloody sword essence burst forth. His killing intent rose sharply at that moment, before being pushed to its peak. Yerufeng was surprised. Oh! It's the formless swordsmanship. He, as the Golden Dragon Messenger and the strongest warrior at the Yin-Yang Void Realm, was naturally familiar with the so-called first in the world, the formless swordsmanship. He did not use any martial arts technique or show any of his amazing cultivation of spiritual power. With a simple wave of his sleeves, he easily defused Jian Wushuang's strongest sword move. When he was done, he stretched out his fingers. Clang! He caught the edge of the triple kill sword like a pincer. No matter how much Jian Wushuang struggled, he could not move the sword out of Yerufeng's firm hold. This. Jian Wushuang was greatly shocked. He had long known that Yin-Yang Void Realm warriors had impressive strength, but he did not expect it to be this strong. After making a breakthrough into the ultimate spirit sea level, he could kill the strongest initial gold core realm with ease. But now the strongest move he could use was so easily defused by Yerufeng, to the point where his sword was even being controlled by mere fingers. You're already pretty good to be able to use the second type of the formless swordsmanship to this extent. Yerufeng was still holding the triple kill sword in place, but he was now smiling at Jian Wushuang. You imbued the sword essence of Gale in your swordsmanship, and you also have a high comprehension of it. Not bad. Not bad at all. He finally loosened his grip, allowing Jian Wushuang to retrieve his sword. It's a shame that I don't have a swordsmanship suitable for the sword essence of earth. Otherwise, Jian Wushuang balled his hands into fists, feeling unsatisfied with the outcome. He had comprehended sword essence of Gale and sword essence of earth at nearly the same time. Though he comprehended the former earlier, he later realized that he comprehended sword essence of earth faster and ended up doing just that in the dark forest in the past 3 months. Thus, he had a better comprehension of the sword essence of earth. Unfortunately, he did not have a suitable swordsmanship to display it. Take his strongest move, the anonymous swordsmanship, as an example. It emphasized on speed and was most suitable to be used with the sword essence of Gale. When paired with the sword essence of earth, it not only seemed out of place, its might was also reduced greatly.